Okay, Mr. Jessica, do you listen me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, Miss Jessica. How are you?
I am really fine. I am a little bit nervous, but I am completely ready for this interview.
Okay, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Can you introduce yourself and tell me a little about your education background and experience?
Okay, my name is Jessica Daniela Cutia Peña. I am 23 years old. I currently live in the city of Florencia, Caquetá, where I am original from, but I used to live in Pitalito, Huila, where I did all my studies. I study at the Normal Superior school where I did my primary studies. It was also the place where planting was done, the seat of interest in teaching and education. I did high school at the Humberto Muñoz Ordóñez Institute. In this institute, it was where in the last school grades, 10 and 11, I did an extracurricular study technique uh, called English language, which I enrolled. In this class, I was able to see English as a new door and as a different vision of life, a life that I want for myself. And when I finished my studies at high school, I decided that I would be an English teacher. As part of my university academic training, I enrolled in the National Open and Distance University in Math, and I am doing a degree in foreign language with an emphasis on English, where I have learned about various teaching methods, pedagogical models, and design and construction of classes, use of technologies, face-to-face and online teacher professionals, and ethics as well as deep understanding of the duty and responsibility of teacher. In my last year, the last year, I worked in a kindergarten called Los Pilos in the city of Florencia, where I got first-hand experience in childcare and was able to put into practice what I learned in my classes.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Next questions. What inspired you to become a teacher?
The decision to become a teacher was not an easy one. As you must know, there have always been obstacles for those who wants to be teachers, but at an economic level. This profession was not well paid, so I spent a large part of my adolescence thinking about other careers I could focus on, but I decided that I wanted to be a teacher when I was in fifth grade because of a teacher that I have. Her name was Margot Barragan. I remember her very well because she was a teacher who loved her profession. She went every day to the school in bus, and she used to live in the center of the town. And she always take the bus so to the limits of Pitalito to teach her classes because she really loves her, her job. So that always caught my attention that she carried a huge suitcase with her with material for the students who could not buy their school supplies. So she always carried notebooks, pencils, impressions, and more so that the students who did not have could go with her and get a little to be able to do the activities. For me, she was my example and the teacher who taught me that teaching is not just giving information. It is a process of hard work and dedication, and that you need a real vocation as a teacher. And that is what has maintained my desire to be a teacher, to become a teacher like my teacher.
Okay, that's interesting. And what experience do you have working with children?
I work the last year in a kindergarten called Los Pilos in the city of Florencia. This kindergarten has a number of 20 to 25 children, in which my role was to recognize and respond to individual needs and styles of learning, implement strategies to address the learning needs of diverse students, promote the development of social skills and positive relationships through group activities. Also implement a behavior management system that focus on teaching positive behavior instead of punishments, and the children understanding that learning is not based on punishment, and encourage parental involvement to create a strong connection between home and school that support a student's learning.
Okay, Miss Jessica, how do you plan to engage students in the classroom?
Mm, as a teacher in training and based on my experience, I have gone to the conclusion that the most effective way to engage students in the classroom is through the use of strategies that promote students' participation and engagement. To achieve this objective, students must be motivated and encouraged to participate. This promotes communication between the teacher and the students, giving the opportunity to know what the student's thinking is. This type of activity allows the students to understand that the teacher is engaged with the class and it's someone who listens and understands their point of view. Something that I applied with children under my care in kindergarten was the ideas that they gave me about how they want to have their classes. As teachers, we are responsible for the development of the class and the content, but many times students do not feel attracted to the explanation, and that causes a detachment from education. So, taking into account their ideas about an activity to be carried out is always a good idea.
Okay, how do you handle difficult students or challenging behavior?
Managing difficult students or challenging behavior is always a challenge for the teacher. First of all, I always try to have a dialogue with the students in questions, knowing the reason behind their behavior or why they behave in a certain way is important. For both types of students, the same model of effective communication applies. If students refuse to communicate with me, I usually ask him to be silent until the class ends. When we are alone, I ask the same questions again in case he felt uncomfortable explaining around his classmates. Mm, this strategy usually works, but there are cases in which it is necessary to notify the directors or speak directly with the parents to understand what is happening with the students and how we can help them to improve personally, socially, and in their learning process.
Okay, that's great to hear. Can you tell me about a time when you had to handle a difficult situation in the classroom and how you resolved it?
Mm, in the kindergarten, children are prone to crying, screaming, and go through different situations. On one occasion, a 4-year-old student began to cry loudly because he did not want to share a marker with his classmate. The other boy was upset because of this and also began to cry, and they interrupted the class. We were doing a class about colors in English, so both children required the material, the marker that they were using. What I have to do was go with both of them and move them away from the classroom and ask them to tell me why they were angry, allowing them to express their own reasons. The first child told me that he was angry because his partner wanted the market and take the market away from him, and he was using it in his drawing. But the second child told me he was crying because his partner had pushed him. At that moment, I have to help both. I have to help them both to calm down and make them understand that showing their emotion was not wrong, but attacking their classmates is a wrong thing. So in the end, both children decide that the first one will apologize, and when he finishes using the marker, he will give it to his classmates. So communication, problem solving, and understanding of students' feelings has always been important and necessary for conflict resolution.
That's great example of problem solving and communication skills. Can you tell me about your teaching philosophy and how you approach lesson planning?
My teaching philosophy is based on the students as the center of learning. In my opinion, an active student is a capable student. To prepare a lesson, I always review what topic I should teach in class according to the syllabus of the established course and the objectives to be achieved within the lesson, the class and the personal professional ones. Following that, I do an analysis of the chosen topic, review all the information, and summarize the most important points of the lessons, and based on that, the time assignment. When I have the basis, then I make a guide to follow in which oral teaching, students does, practical teaching, didactic activities, and evaluation estimations go.
Okay, how do you differentiate instructions to meet the needs of all students?
Differentiating instruction allows students to show what they know in different ways and works well in general education classrooms that include students with learning and thinking difference. It also uses multiple learning methods that do not have an individual focus for each student. Personal, I follow the instruction of Carol Ann Tomlinson, which is an educator who has done some of the most innovative work in this area. She says that there are four steps to follow. The first one is content, that is find out what the students need to learn and what they are the resource to help them. The second is the process, which is the activities that help make sense of what we learn. Projects follows where the students can show what they know, and finally the learning environment, which is the perception of how the classroom feels and how the students work together.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Next questions. How do you incorporate technology into your lessons?
Technology is part of life, and teachers must understand that the use of technology is more a tool than a distractor. The question is in its implementation within the classroom. When working with children, technology is a great help since the audiovisual media that are on the internet help us learning and capture the attention of the students. Generally, within the class, I use videos and songs to teach some topics, but I also make use of technology when sorry, when creating and designing lesson plans, assessments, activities, and more is done.
Okay. How do you assess students' learning and progress?
The evaluation of the learning and process of the students is aligned with the teaching program established by the rectory of the institution. Therefore, if I get this job, the evaluation will be established based on the objectives and the competence established for the English program of the Los Rosales Primary Educational Institution. I understand that this institution measures the progress of their students with tests in the classroom, projects, and homework. If that's the case, I will carry out this evaluation in the same way to align with the institution policy.
Miss Jessica, how do you communicate with parents and guardians?
Parents and guardians have the right to total transparency in what concerns the children. For this reason, as a teacher, my duty will be to maintain constant communication with parents that includes full information of the academic and disciplinary performance of the students in the parent meetings at the end of the academic period. In addition to this, I have the contact number in case of emergency and request a permit sent by the parent if another person who comes on their behalf to maintain the integrity and safety of their student. I'm really sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Okay, don't worry, Miss Jessica. How do you collaborate with others, teachers, and staff members?
I consider that I work well in team. I like working with other people, and I think it's much easier to achieve something when everyone works as a team and there is good communication. I'm aware that problems can arise from time to time with co-workers, but there is always a way to solve those problems and be more productive than working individually. I would like to work in an environment where there is a combination of both. So it's great when there is a chance to work as a team and share ideas with others. Teamwork, respect, and communication skills. So there are some skills that I possess and allow me to have a good relation with my colleagues.
Okay, Miss Jessica. And how do you continue to grow in the develop as a teachers?
I have always thought that a good teacher is the one who never stops learning and challenge itself constantly. To teach others, we must be able to learn. So I plan continue learning so that I will have some more knowledge to share with my students.
Okay, Miss Jessica, thank you for sharing that. Finally, can you tell me why you think you would be a good fit for Rosales Elementary School?
I consider that my studies skills, motivation, and good organizational and communication skills makes me a good candidate for this position. I believe that this institution will not only contribute to my professional training process, but will also help me to obtain new experience.
Thank you for your time and for sharing your experience with us. We will continue shortly to inform you about the selection process. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us again. We appreciated your interest in the position and your attentions. Answer you to our questions. We will be in touch soon regarding the next steps in the hiring process. And do you happen to have any questions or concerns that you would like to address before the end of the interview?
No, I have no questions. I appreciate the time you give me, and I look forward to getting the call.
Okay, Miss Jessica, thank you for your time. Bye bye. See you later.
Bye bye.